Guys, it's me, Lil Ninja, back with another video, and today we're doing What If Deku Had the Omnitrix Part 1. And, not Part 1, why would I say that? This is a redo, this is Part 2. So, like I said on that video, the video that I posted yesterday, that was supposed to come out on last Thursday, this video will be coming out, Wednesday. Because I am doing Part 2s and Part 3s. For like at least 3 weeks. I'm gonna say the minimum will be 3 weeks and the maximum will be 5 weeks that I will be doing part 2s. Now, the minimum might be actually 2 weeks and the maximum will be 4 weeks. Okay, so those are the minimums and the maximums, but that's basically it. Subscribe so I can get to 500 subscribers, and I will the first one to get me to 500 subscribers and comments that they got me to 500 subscribers will get a shout out, and I'll be doing that obviously. Well, without further ado, let's get into the video.
It's Little Ninja time.
So we would start off where we normally start off, always at the basically where we last left off, the last part of the video. And I don't know how to start this basically because I took a little break, so yeah. Let me think. Okay, I think I know where to start. Izuku and Izumi are just going into UA. Both of them walking by Bakugo Katsuki, their former enemy turned rival turned best friend, in only a few amount of days basically. Izuku would be telling Izumi not to trust Bakugo too much because she already knows this because they both got bullied. And she already knows that she can't trust Bakugo too much, and Bakugo knows that they're not going to trust him as much as they used to. And he's changing slowly. He's slowly changing, but he will be changing. So yeah, all of them walk into the UA building and would find the Class 1A door, as all of them would sit down in their spots where they chose, with Izumi being right next to Izuku, with Oraka walking in and then her starting to becoming jealous, as you can see why. Oraka would talk to Izuku, asking who's the other girl, and Izuku would say, "That's my sister." And then Oraka would start to calm down and would start to try to be friends with Izumi. But Izumi would not accept her friendship just yet. Not yet. Izuku would tell her that she'll warm up to you. And then Izuku would say his name and her and Izumi's name, and they would get to know each other a lot better until Aizawa would wake up and tell everyone to get ready for stop talking because they were talking too much. And then he would give them their PE exams and would tell them to go to testing site E. Izuku would get to testing site E first, not using any of his powers because he still has a time limit. And also I took the stamina thing away because I just felt like that was too much. I'm only giving him the time limit. So yeah, Izuku didn't want to use his 30 minutes. He has 30 minutes in each form, and and since he had this for like years, he can transform from each form willingly. Not willingly. He has to hit the dial, of course. That's the one thing he has to do to make sure that he can transform from each form. So basically he can alien jump is what I'm saying. He can definitely alien jump. That's basically what I'm saying right now. Izuku would basically just wait for everyone else, and everyone else would get to testing at Site E 10 minutes after Izuku got to testing Site E, especially Aizawa. Aizawa would be there first, but he would just be sleeping, and Aizawa would wake up before everyone else got here, and would be surprised that Izuku got there before everyone else. Woo! After everyone arrived, Izuku was passed a ball so that he can throw it. Izuku would grab the ball, and then he would start dialing up the watch, with everyone just thinking, what is he doing? Not really knowing what he's doing. Now, he doesn't want to use way big. I'm pretty sure I gave him way big in the last round. I didn't watch the last what if all the way through, but I'm pretty sure I did give him way big to defeat the big giant robot. Because I don't think really any of his other they could defeat them, but I don't think they could defeat him as quickly as way big, since it's basically raw power. So he doesn't want to dial up way big just yet. He wants to keep that a secret, but I really don't think anyone would. I'm pretty sure everyone would know about way big at this point. Izuku would dial the omnitrix and would get to, what was it? He would get to the forearms mode. He would get to his forearms alien and would slam the dial. With that, Izuku would transform into forearms, using the power to throw the ball very, very high, and it would go on the moon. I'm not because Izuku is older, and since the Omnitrix uses the best alien form of your age, then it would basically make him the strongest that he could be, the strongest forearms that Izuku could be at his age. So he would be able to throw the ball to the moon, since this forearms is stronger than the other forearms because of age. So yeah. Izuku would then slam the Omnitrix on his chest and would transform back, making the Omnitrix turn a yellow, going into half recharge mode. Yellow basically means like he can still transform, but it's also charging at the same time. Also, he has a shorter time minute when it's in half recharge mode. Meaning, in half recharge mode, it's basically dialed down to 20 minutes now. So, yeah. He has a 20-minute time limit. Actually, no, it's just a regular. It can charge, but he has to make it charge, or he has to go into full recharge mode. And that's basically what I'm saying. So it's not charging, so he only used it for like a few seconds, so he basically still has 30 minutes to use. And Izuku would know this, actually counting himself, so that way he doesn't overuse the Omnitrix with that one throw. Aizawa would be surprised that he got it to the moon, and also he would know that this is not the full power of that device. And Izuku and Aizawa and everyone else would ask him, what is his quirk? And his sister would tell him not to tell them what it really is. So Izuku would come up with the best lie that he could ever come up with, that I will be explaining. Izuku would lie that his quirk has physicalized into a device that he can use to transform into many things, and the things that he transforms into are random things that are based off of things that he saw or wants to do. Meaning that a random transformation could pop up at any time, and he would have to check it out to know its powers. Sometimes he can know its powers automatically, or sometimes he doesn't. And when Izuku said that, they would kind of almost get what his quirk is, even though it's not a quirk. And Izuku would just basically would be glad that they bought that's a quirk, even though it's not a quirk. Izuku would be walking back to the line, and Aizawa would explain everything about the things, and Mina would say that this would be fun, and Izuku would immediately regret coming to school because he read about Aizawa and he knows what will happen if someone tries to make his test fun, since you're trying to be seriously a hero and not making things fun. So Aizawa would literally change up everything by saying that you guys will, whoever is placed last will be expelled. And Izuku would be angry and would transform into forearms and would say, that's not fair. Even if these are your rules, it's not fair to challenge everybody. Not everybody's quirk is prepared for something like this. And everyone would just be happy that he said that, especially Mina and Momo. They would thank him quietly and would try to assist him in asking Aizawa to not expel anyone. In this timeline, Momo actually believes that Momo still doesn't believe that she will get expelled, even though Aizawa is actually freaking serious in this timeline. If he doesn't see any potential, he will kick them out. And Izuku would then ask for forgiveness and would say, please do not kick out anyone. And while that, Aizawa would say, get back in line and transform back. And Izuku, when he transformed back, he would turn it into, he would turn the dial so that way it would transform. The omnitrix would be in recharge mode. So while everybody else is doing their test, he can use it, the omnitrix can charge. He can control whether it's in recharge mode or in regular mode. And the amount of time it takes for him to transform is the amount of time that it takes to recharge. So if he say if you just want to go for 5 minutes, then it will have to recharge for 5 minutes if you put it into recharge mode. That's basically what recharge mode is. Okay. Izuku would be back in line, and Oraka and all Momo and Mina would thank him for not trying, and his sister Izumi would just scold him for trying with her and would just show her flames, ticking Shoto off a little bit, reminding him of his father. And Izuku would look at this and would stare back at Shoto, with Shoto just ignoring Izuku. And the test would basically go for everyone else in canon. Izumi would be basically good at everything, not just training her quirk, but also training her body, meaning that the physicalized tests weren't as bad as her as it would be for canon Izuku. All Might would see this, and still not having given any user, one for all to any user yet, he would take Izumi over and talk to her about one for all, also talking to his brother, her brother, about one for all. And Izuku would actually trade a secret for a secret, telling All Might about the omnitrix, saying what it's called and telling him everything that he knows about the omnitrix. So yeah. What's next? As per usual, Izuku would get first, this time Bakugo would get second, and Izumi would get third, with Shoto coming in fourth. And everyone else would just be in canon, except for the slight misplacement. Of course, Invisible Girl would be at the last, and Moneta would be just above him. Now, even though Invisible Girl has potential, he would kick Moneta out, and everyone would just be surprised that he actually kicked someone out. And Momo would say this out loud, and she would say that she didn't think he was really going to kick anyone out, and everyone just looked at her, and she just step into a corner and just stay quiet. Mineta would beg Aizawa not to expel him, but Aizawa would be persistent and would say, "You're going to have to train harder than you ever trained before. You're training harder than all the other students. I will personally train you." And Aizawa, yes, I'm making Mineta stronger in this one. This is the one time I'm going to make Mineta stronger. So yeah, just why not? I'm definitely going to make Mineta stronger in this one. Woo! Izuku would just be happy that he wasn't really expelling anyone. Also, Invisible Girl would get invited to train, and Invisible Girl would gladly accept and would train with Aizawa as well, while everyone else was sent home. And yeah. And we're not halfway done, so we're going to skip to, oh yeah, the hero versus villains. All Might would burst through the doors, exciting everyone, and except for Bakugo trying to act cool in front of the number one hero. Is after all of them got their their hero costumes on, which is Midoriya's just a jacket, while Izumi's is basically Izuku's costume but red in this one. Whew. And also she has some basically fire hydrant, small, what are they called? Basically small water canisters, so that like if she goes up against a fire, she can basically take it out. And bandages, basically support items to help her with One For All, and also help her with her quirk and taking out fires and other things, since she can control fire. Izuku would look at her costume, and then Izumi would look at his costume. And really, Izuku's costume is basically a jacket with a costume under it. So the jacket is basically Ben's jacket, the canon Ben's jacket, with a jacket with one sleeve, one long sleeve and one short sleeve. And basically he has some support, a support item belt that does many things, because he doesn't want to be useless whenever his thing is timed out. Also, he has a sword on his back that can absorb materials and DNA. So those are his weapon. He has basically just a sword on his back and things to help him stop basically natural disasters or heal other people. So yeah, basically kind of like his sister. Now, Izuku would get on a team with his sister, and Bakugo would be on a team with Uraraka. Bakugo would tell Uraraka to stay here and float to the bomb to make it harder to catch, and Izuku would tell Izumi to scout while he scouts for the villains. Izumi would end up finding Bakugo, while Izuku would end up finding the top room with Uraraka in it. While that happened, Izumi would try to tell Izuku about it, and Izuku would hear and would rush right down, saying to use a plan to capture him, distract him, and I'll come from behind. And Izumi would tell Izuku to distract him instead, and that is what their plan would be, to take down Bakugo. They would succeed and take down Bakugo. Well, then Izuku would rush upstairs and would touch the bomb, and Izumi would get MVP for taking charge and coming up with a plan. Well, Izuku and Izumi would get MVP. And that is where I leave it off. So I hope you liked the video, and that is it. It is what I would be saying if the video wasn't a few minutes longer. Both Izumi and Izuku getting MVP. Izumi and Izuku would go home early, with them deciding to train, Izuku flipping through the watch a little bit, and he would find a new alien with antennas looking like spark plugs, or spark plugs. And he would not use the alien. He would decide to dial up the alien and would transform into it, and Izumi would immediately come up with a name for it after seeing what powers it had. The powers, obviously, this is feedback, with it being able to absorb energy and dispel it at the same time. So Izumi would basically come up with the name feedback, and Izumi would be talking about all the other aliens, and she would actually be talking about her fire powers as well, trying to come up with new ways to use Izuku's aliens and Izumi's fire together, basically. Now, Izuku would have been happy if he had something like a water alien, so that way he can use it to basically combat his sister. And Izuku would, and also something is, you guys haven't told me any of the aliens that you want Izuku to have already, so I'm just not going to ask you anymore. So, but if you do want me to incorporate at least 1 or 2 aliens, tell me, please, because you're not telling me, and I really want you to tell me. So, yeah. Woo! Izuku would be in basically using feedback for a while, not getting addicted to it like Ben did. So yeah, he would decide to just use feedback just in case he comes up against a energy type villain, since there are many types of villains. Izuku would transform back and put the omnitrix into recharge mode until the omnitrix would turn blue, and the omnitrix would say, "Do you want to recalibrate?" And Izuku would just be surprised at this, not thinking about what recalibrate is. And Izuku would say yes. The omnitrix would shut down. And 10 minutes later, the omnitrix would boot back up, transforming itself into a different type of omnitrix with new aliens. And 3 of the same aliens that Izuku already had, making a total of 13 aliens, with feedback, way big, and Diamond Head. Izuku would Diamond Head. Wait, no. I'm gonna pick... What? He had 15 aliens. I'm gonna say Wildvine. Yeah, he's picking Wildvine. So the 3 aliens would be Feedback, Wildvine, and Way Big. Yeah, Way Big. Izuku would look at all the different aliens, and Izumi would start writing down notes about them. And the next few hours would be Izuku changing into different aliens, and Izumi coming up with names for them after seeing their powers. Woo. Now, the next day, Izuku would show everyone his new quirk, and Izuku would say it evolved somehow. It just happened last night. And everyone would just be surprised that Izuku's basically watch evolved. Well, so yeah. A week later, after getting to know every alien, it would be the USJ arc. Izuku and gotta think about this. Izuku and everyone else would be on the bus, talking about everyone's different powers, thinking about what each power could do and whose power is the strongest. Everyone would immediately say Shoto, and then some people would start to talk about Izuku, with there not being a clear explanation to whose power is stronger, since they never really gone up against each other, and since Shoto always holds back, with Izuku always basically trying to excel. Well, it's what they think he's trying to do, even though he's already been holding back a lot more of his different aliens, really only showing them Big Chill, Swampfire, and Humongousaur, and the other 3 aliens that he usually uses, except for Way Big, because he still doesn't want to use that unless it's absolutely necessary to use Way Big. Izuku would Izuku and everybody else would finally get off the bus, and Izuku would immediately see the mist inside the middle of the circle, with Kurogiri opening all the portals. And with that, Izuku would scream villains, and everyone would think he was talking about fake villains, and then Aizawa said, no, those are not fake villains. Izuku would immediately turn into Humongousaur and would rush into the middle, trying to fight all the extra thugs. Aizawa would go for the villains that he knew were actually villains until Kurogiri would teleport and then teleport everyone else into different spots of the area, with Mineta actually saving Froppy this time instead of him only helping like a little bit. And that will be kind of where I leave it off for now. I hope you liked the video, especially since I did a little bit of an extension. And yeah, well, get me to 500 subscribers and we can call it a day. Hope you liked the video. Bye. Ninja says bye.